Last season, West Ham created history, qualifying for the Champions League and winning the FA Cup for the first time since 1980. And today, with the transfer window open once again, it's time to take this team to the next level. But as ever, if you're enjoying the series so far, please feel free to like and subscribe, and let's get into today's episode. Now, following on from our Cup success and our fourth place finish in the Premier League last season, the board have decided to give me a European-sized budget of 150 million. But of course, with the added expectation of them wanting me to win the Premier League title, win the FA Cup once again, and get to the final of the Champions League in our first time in the competition. Now, some might say those are ludicrous expectations, but if we're going to achieve them, we're going to need to make some changes to this squad. Now, having made numerous changes to my backline, bringing in 4 new signings since this career mode started, the one place that I haven't improved is in between the sticks. Now, at 81 rated and 32 years of age, Areola is in his prime, but it's highly unlikely he's going to improve any further, and his performances have been up and down to say the least. And so it is in goal that we're going to be starting our transfer frenzy at the beginning of this season. Now, as you can see, I do have several new goalkeepers shortlisted, but for me, it is important that I get someone who is going to be the long-term option for me at number 1, and someone who can genuinely come in and displace Areola as my number 1 goalkeeper. Now, my first choice initially was this man, Diogo Costa. With him being 25 years of age, yet to enter his prime, and being 86 rated, he's the best rated goalkeeper in the entire shortlist. But as you can see, with him recently moving to Lazio and his market value being around £90 million, that's a little bit too much that I want to spend on a goalkeeper. Mamardashvili was number 2 on the shortlist, but as you can see, Valencia are saying he's too important for the club to sell. And whilst James Trafford has been highly recommended to me by several of you, with him still only being 76 rated, he is not the statement signing that I was hoping to make to improve on Areola between the sticks. So with me looking to bring in someone who's got some much needed experience and can add some calmness and composure to my back line, someone who's got experience not just playing across Europe, but at the highest level in the Champions League, it is time to say hello to a man who's racked up almost 130 appearances in Serie A for Napoli, and a man who's trying to work his way into the national scene for his country, Italy. That is right, it is time that we welcome the former Napoli goalkeeper Alex Mere as he joins West Ham United for a fee of £28.5 million. Now, managing to snap up a world-class goalkeeper for a modest fee is something that I'm absolutely delighted with. He's entering his prime years, yet he's still got the opportunity to grow and develop. He will go straight into my starting 11 and immediately improve my back line. And it's the exact sort of statement signing that I was hoping to make to kick off Season 3. Now, since joining midway through Season 1, Victor Gyökeres has well and truly established himself as our number 1 striker, up to an 86 rating. And with the retirement of the West Ham legend Michail Antonio, leaving just the big Swede and the former right midfielder Jarrod Bowen as the only 2 players who can realistically play up front for me this season, and with me playing this 4-2-2-2 formation, it is clear that I certainly need some backup for these 2 players. Now, at 83 rated, it would make the most sense that I would probably be looking for an upgrade on this man, Jarrod Bowen. However, with the West Ham icon always chipping in with important goals in important games, and with him being a huge figure for me since this career mode started, I do not want to displace him in the starting 11. And so that is why, despite me having all of these big name strikers on my shortlist, I don't know if I quite want to bring them in. But the 2 that have really caught my mind are firstly this man, Gift Orban, at 79 rated and 22 years of age. He's got his best years ahead of him. And of course, the 25-year-old Tassos Douvikas, who has been heavily recommended by several of you. And whilst Gift Orban might look like the more sensible decision, being 3 years this man's junior, I already have quite a young and inexperienced squad, and I do want to add a little bit more experience. And that is why I have decided to snap up the Greek international Tassos Douvikas from Celta Vigo for a fee of just £14.3 million. Now, on paper, Gift Orban might seem the better decision. However, with him potentially costing me almost £33.4 million, I think getting the experienced Greek at just under 15 million is an absolute steal. He's got pace to burn, and he's got a lot of attributes that I think could be really useful for this West Ham United team. And I also think he could be a really useful understudy for the likes of Jarrod Bowen and Victor Gyökeres in my starting 11. Plus, his signing still leaves me with a very healthy £100 million left in my budget, which is going to be incredibly important for the next position that we want to sign. Now, there can be no doubt that my captain James Ward-Prowse has been a very influential figure since joining West Ham United in 2023. However, with him being 30 years of age and only 81 rated, common sense would suggest that I need to look for an upgrade in this position. And with me bringing in Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall last season and him not hitting the heights that I would have wanted him to, and him not getting the sort of game time that he was hoping for, immediately at the start of this season he has decided to submit a transfer request. And after me managing to negotiate a £30 million offer for him from Augsburg, he will become the first man to depart the club at the beginning of Season 3, meaning that he's going to leave a gaping hole in the centre of my midfield that I'm going to need to fill. And so this is the point in the transfer market where I am ready to spend some serious dough. And as I said, my number 1 target before was this man, Tian Koopmeiners, at 27 years of age, entering his prime and 84 rated. He would be a monumental signing. However, with me wanting to keep this career mode realistic, and with him currently playing for Atletico Madrid, I'm really not quite sure he would yet want to make the move to West Ham United at this point in his career. And so instead I've decided to enter negotiations and go down a slightly different route. And that route has led me to a man who has racked up almost 140 appearances in the French league for Nice, someone who's starting to make his way into the French national side, and on this career mode has moved across to La Liga to ply his trade for Real Betis. But he's a young man who will be desperate to make his mark in the English Football Premier League and finally make the step up to play European football at the highest level in the Champions League. That is right, I have decided to turn to the up-and-coming French wonder kid, Khéphren Thuram, to sign for West Ham United for a fee of £42 million. He's signing number 3, and my word, what an important one it could be. 24 years old, can play in central midfield, central defensive midfield, and he has all of the attributes right across the board to be an absolute proven superstar at West Ham United. And whilst James Ward-Prowse is still an important figure at this club, he can come in, immediately improve the starting 11 and hopefully form a formidable partnership in midfield with this man Edson Alvarez. However, with 3 new signings down and £82 million still left in the transfer budget, I think I've got room for one more. Now, when Milan van Ewijk joined as one of our very first signings in Season 1, he has proven over the course of the last 2 or 3 years to have that something special and has established himself as the number 1 right back at the club. However, as you can see, with me making several signings and improvements to my defence over the years, right back is the one that has gone under the radar and has left me with no senior players who could also play in that position to try and challenge Milan van Ewijk for a starting spot. Now, as he is my number 1 right back, I don't necessarily want someone to come in and displace him in the starting 11, rather to be around the same level as him and potentially provide some better competition. And so that is why I've decided to turn my attention to another young man who's been heavily recommended to me by you all, a man who has come through the Ajax Youth Academy and is now applying his trade over in Italy for Udinese, and another young man trying to make his name on the international scene, desperate to make his move to the Premier League to establish himself on Europe's biggest scene. That is right, for our 4th signing of the summer, we're going to be saying hello to the young Dutch international Divine Wrench, who joins West Ham United for a fee of £22.3 million. He's still playing at a very good level and, as you can see, has the potential to grow and develop. He offers us a great deal of versatility, being able to play at right back, centre back and left back, and he has some really good attributes that I think he can grow and develop at West Ham United. And whilst he won't necessarily come in and immediately go into my starting 11, we finally have someone who can offer competition on the right-hand side of my defence, which is absolutely imperative if this squad wants to compete on all fronts this season. However, with the transfer window now done, it is finally time to kick off our season, and what a way to do so, as we are going to be going back to Wembley, where it all happened at the back end of last episode, to welcome Liverpool for what is going to be our first opportunity of silverware this season in the Community Shield. It's a wonderful opportunity to once again test myself against the very best, and it's also a wonderful opportunity for all 4 of our new signings to finally make their debuts in a West Ham United shirt, as we're going to be starting with Mere in goal, Wrench at right back, Diomande, Hanko and Tierney at the back. Thuram is going to start alongside Alvarez, with Somerville and Eze playing behind Gyökeres and Tuvikas up front. Hanko, though, to bring it out of defence, of course, trying to beat that heavy Liverpool press here, as Kieran Tierney's going to take it down the line into Eze down the left-hand side, and the Englishman has got an option in the centre of Gyökeres, who's going to look for a striking partner. Tuvikas with his first chance in a West Ham United shirt, and he's dragged it wide. Somerville back into Tuvikas, who I'm sure will be eager to put that horrendous miss behind him here in the opening 20 minutes, but he's gone and given the ball away. It's not been a strong start from the Greek international, as Kieran Tierney now has it over to Eze. Eze flings it back in, looking for Somerville on the volley. My word, what a save. Well, I'll tell you what, if we're planning on starting the season the way that we started this game, I am really, really excited, because we have taken it to Liverpool here in the opening 15 minutes, as Eze tries to get his head on it. Tuvikas picks it up again, shifts it onto his right, goes to strike from the edge of the box. It gets blocked off, cleared away by Liverpool. And it is McAllister once again who comes across, but Diomande's done enough now, and he's really starting to cement himself as a real good centre-back for us, forming a formidable partnership with this man, Hanko, now, who's going to try and bring this one out the defence. Goes across to the right-hand side to Wrench to pick up the ball. Plays it down the line to Tuvikas, who's been heavily involved so far, it must be said. And he's got an option of Eze at the back post if he can try and find him. He does look for Eze, who loops his header over the bar. It's McAllister for Liverpool. Into Endo, who's got a load of space in the centre of my midfield. No one tracking him down, but McAllister ends up getting tracked down by Thuram, who's won the ball back in a really good position. Really good start here from the young Frenchman. Kieran Tierney now to just try and loop it back over to him. That is lovely play between the two of them. I've got to hope that they are going to form a formidable partnership, down that left-hand side of midfield, as Tuvikas again tries to bring it forward. Well, a lot of the stuff that he's tried to pull off just hasn't really worked for him, but he has been heavily involved, and he's got the heart and the determination to continue to go forward, as does Mo Salah at the moment, and Mo Salah has just walked his way through my midfield and my defence, and he said thank you very much and blasted a strike past the debutant Alex Murray in goal to give Liverpool a 1-0 lead from absolutely nothing. Well, clearly my midfielders, my defenders and myself were all too fixated with what Duvikas was trying to do up front to pay any attention to what Mo Salah was trying to do down the other end. It's a wonderful finish. I mean, the goalkeeper had no chance whatsoever, but I'm frustrated. 1-0. Hanko to try and bring it out of defence, and he's getting blocked off by Endo here. Liverpool seem now to have got their confidence back here, and now they're trying to work their way back through my midfield once again. It's McAllister weaving around, lovely ball into Mo Salah. This time it's Kieran Tierney who comes across and does just enough. Alvarez now to bring this one away, and if he can play a ball down the channel into the big Swede Gyökeres, who's got the pace to get away from the Liverpool back line into the box, and he just slides it past Alisson. It is all too easy once again for the big Swede, and how many times have we seen him do that last season? My word, what a fabulous way to equalise. Well, many in that position would have panicked, perhaps they would have overthought the situation, but he just slid it past Alisson. That is a goal of absolute beauty. So good from the big Swede, and it looks like he's going to be continuing his fine form from last season. It's 1-1. Eze wins it back in the centre of the park here in a really good position, and now Somerville into Duvikas on his left. My word, he's dragged it even further wide than his first chance. Luis Diaz tries to go down the the left-hand side, and he does, into Andy Robertson, who's got the pace here to try and go right onto the edge of my box. He's gone to Gravenberch. Gravenberch has found his way past Thuram into McAllister, who ends up blocking off one of the defenders. Mere says thank you very much, and I've got to be honest, we are very lucky that we didn't give away a penalty there. Endo now. Oh, he's been chased down and harassed by Duvikas, who once again, at the third time of asking, is going to try and ghost into the box here. He does slide it past the goalkeeper, and for the third time, he puts it wide. Diogo Jota now has got space to run into here, and it's 3-on-3, end-to-end stuff here at Wembley, and Mo Salah, oh my goodness, with a fabulous second goal for him, and he brings Liverpool back into the lead, just under 10 minutes remaining. Absolutely superb by the Egyptian, and once again, Alex Murray on his debut had absolutely no chance whatsoever. Absolutely smashed it into the top right-hand corner. Wonderful goal. 2-1 Liverpool. Well, we've got just under 10 minutes now to try and see if we can find a route back into this game. We worked hard to get ourselves back into it in the first half. Can we go and do the same thing here in the second? As Diamande plays it across to Emerson, tries to play it one touch down into Thuram, but got the pass all wrong. Another goal scorer, of course, full of beans. Mo Salah tries to bring it forward, but Emerson makes amends for his earlier mistake. Thuram tries to play it forward, but ends up losing it. And Liverpool now are well and truly in the ascendancy as Szoboszlai under a lot of pressure, but manages to wriggle away into Luis Diaz on the left-hand side. Plays it over to Robertson. Now Liverpool in search of their third to well and truly put this game to bed on the edge of the box. If they're just playing it around, I'm trying frantically to win the ball back off them, but I just cannot get it back. Endo out to Mo Salah again, who for the third time tried to get his hat-trick, but Mary this time was onto it. It's going to be a corner to Liverpool. They've got the ball exactly where they want it here, deep into stoppage time. They take it short. McAllister into Mo Salah. I try and win it back, but they play it into the box with Endo. McAllister has it once again. He's onside. Mary does enough to block it. Somerville brings it clear, with the referee looks to his clock and blows for full time. Or from delight at the back end of last episode to heartbreak at the start of this one. Liverpool have beaten us here at Wembley 2-1, and it's really not the start to the season that we wanted. We see the opposition Liverpool lift the FA Community Shield as our first opportunity of silverware goes out the window. Now, Alex Mere didn't have the finest of debuts, only getting a 4.5 overall rating, which I think is a little harsh, as he couldn't really do much for either goal, but he will be hoping for a much better performance in the Premier League. Wrench was fairly quiet down that right-hand side. I will be looking for more from the young Dutchman as the season progresses. Kepren Thuram was a little bit hit and miss. He had some good touches in the middle of the park, but he gave the ball away a few too many times for my liking. But one man who had an absolute horror show was this man, Tassos Duvikas. He was heavily involved up and down the pitch like a yo-yo, but in front of goal, he was left wanting. He had 3 huge opportunities, all of which he sent wide, and we've got to be hoping for an improvement from the 26-year-old in the Premier League this season. Speaking of the Premier League, though, it is finally time to get our campaign underway. A successful campaign last season, qualifying for the Champions League and finishing 4th spot. The board are determined for us to go one better this season and not just challenge for the Premier League title, but win the entire competition. It's going to be a huge ask, but as we face off today against Nottingham Forest, it's one that I'm confident we can do. And my starting 11 will be as follows. It's a debut in the Premier League for Mere in goal, Van Ewig, Diamande, Hanko and Tierney at the back. It's a debut in midfield for Thuram as he partners Alvarez in midfield. Kudus Savio start behind Gyökeres and Jared Bowen up front. It's Morgan Gibbs White for Nottingham Nottingham Forest out to Callum Hudson-Odoi. He can't go past Van Awijk though, who I'm sure will be eager to put in some really good performances this season now that he's finally got some competition down the right-hand side of my defence. As Kieran Tierney, another one on the left-hand side of my defence, goes and gives the ball away in a dangerous position. And now Kusitas, I think that's how you pronounce his name, throws it into the box. Looks for Callum Hudson-Odoi at the back post, but Mere showing what he can do in front of the home fans here, just tipping that one over the bar as Nottingham Forest have a corner here in the opening 10 minutes. They've started off the better of the two teams, but Kudos is the man who heads it clear, only out as far as Seabear, who picks it up on the edge of the box. Back to Callum Hudson-Odoi, the danger man. They're playing it around really nicely here, right on the edge of my box here. Bowler on the left-hand side tries to play it back into Callum Hudson-Odoi. They're trying to find space to cross the ball in, but Kudos comes back across his header to get the ball away from the corner, and his tackle wins the ball back for us. It's a good start from the young man. It's Thuram now to try and play it over the top, looking for the young Brazilian Savio, who's looking to try and use his pace to get away from the defenders, but he's used his tenacity to win the ball back here. Tries to play it back, but in the end gets it off the defender and gets a corner for his troubles. And it's going to be that man Savio who's going to be the one to take it in the absence of James Ward-Prowse. Throws it into the box, looking for the big head of Thuram, doesn't manage to find it. Gibbs White heads it clear. It'll be Kieran Tierney with the throw. Plays in Thuram, who's been involved so far. Gyökeres round the corner into Kieran Tierney. He's going to float it into the box. Looking for Kudos. What a thumping header. And what a fantastic way to open your West Ham United account this season. Well, the fans go wild, and rightly so. It was a fantastically well-worked goal. Gyökeres round the corner into Kieran Tierney. And it was a wonderful whipped cross right across the box. And Kudos stepped up, got there just ahead of the defender. And it was a thumping header past the goalkeeper who got a touch, but it was too powerful for him. West Ham lead the way here at the London Stadium. It's 1-0. There's Callum Hudson-Odoi now to play it into the path of Toffolo. Goes down the right-hand side, has managed to knock it past Van Awijk now. And he's going to try and see if he can play it into the box. He does, but Diamande stands up strong, wins the first challenge, doesn't manage to win the second, and in the end it's a tame shot straight at the goalkeeper. It's Kepren Thuram at the beginning of this second half. Plays it out to Kieran Tierney. Plays it forward into Savio. Nice little dummy. Tried to go around Sangaire, but was just muscled off the ball. He's got to be better in those positions, does the young Brazilian, as Nottingham Forest now can try and bring this one forward. It was a fairly tame opening 45 minutes going forward from the former European champions, but they've got to hope to try and do something a little bit better in this half, but instead they balloon a chance over the bar. Out to Kieran Tierney on the left-hand side. He's another player who's been heavily involved, getting an assist in his first game of the season, as Savio now picks it up. Oh, lovely little dummy round the defender. Beautifully done. That's what he offers the team. Cuts it back into Gyökeres, straight at the goalkeeper. Jared Bowen is on hand, right on the edge of the 6-yard box to say thank you very much to get his first goal of the season. It's our second here today. We lead 2-0. Well, that all came from the lovely little shimmy from Savio to get away from the defender. He had the wherewithal to cut it back into Gyökeres, and the goalkeeper just palmed it right back into the path of Jared Bowen, who of course was on hand as ever to put the ball into an empty net. 2-0. It's Shah now down the left-hand side, tries to cut it back, but Thuram reads it really nicely and wins it back, and now he can use that pace and acceleration to try and drive away from the defenders, but in the end gets a little bit caught up perhaps. He still has to get used to the fast-paced life here in the Premier League. McKenna into Dominguez. He's blocked off though by Kudos. Has been so good so far this game. Kudos though lays it into the path of Jared Bowen, and the Englishman has the chance to add a third, but instead it's just blocked off and it just trickles into the arms of the goalkeeper. So it's Divine Wrench who picks this one up on the right-hand side, on for 20 minutes here to make his debut in the Premier League, and he's coming under a bit of pressure, but he's done a really good job of getting away from it. He feeds in Hanko to give it out to Emerson, another substitute on the left-hand side. James Ward-Prowse comes back in the centre of the park in place of Thuram, who also goes off, and Savio now has it, plays it across to Gyökeres. That is absolutely brilliant. It's his first goal of the game, and it's his first goal in the Premier League this season, and it's a wonderful way to put the icing on the cake of what has been a brilliant performance. We just opened up the Nottingham Forest defence at will, and Savio is involved yet again. Plays it across the box, and this time the big Swede is on hand to put it in the back of the net as he gives us a 3-0 lead here at the London Stadium. McKenna for Forest. Tries to play it into Zangier. Dominguez now has it. Forest are surely going to try and see if they can get a consolation, but if Alvarez has got anything to do with it, absolutely no chances. Gyökeres now plays it back out to Savio on the left-hand side. The young Brazilian drives into the box once again, plays it across. It was looking for Duvicas. In the end, tries to shoot, and the goalkeeper made a bit of a meal of that one, and eventually Shaw just about manages to keep it in play. But that will be that for the end of what has been a delightful start to our Premier League campaign this season. A wonderful game that saw us knock 3 past Nottingham Forest to give the home fans a much needed lift at the beginning of the campaign. Full time here, it finishes West Ham 3, Nottingham Forest 0. And we're going to continue with the football here, being brought crashing back down to earth with a 1-1 away draw against Bournemouth, but coming back from behind to beat Liverpool at home 3-2, but then succumbing to an unlikely 1-0 loss away from home once again, this time to Fulham, before only being able to rescue a point at home against Chelsea 1-1. And due to that up and down start to life in the Premier League this season, after 5 games you can see we sit in 9th place with only 8 points on the board, and already we've find ourselves 7 points behind league leaders Newcastle United. Perhaps it's the number of new signings that I've decided to bring in. Perhaps the whole squad is not quite gelling at the moment, and with the exception of Jarrod Bowen and Victor Gyökeres, perhaps the rest of the team aren't quite finding their feet in front of goal. But if we want to achieve the board objectives this season of winning the Premier League, we're going to have to change something, and we're going to have to change it fast. But it is now time for the moment that you've all been waiting for. The Premier League to one side. It is time to begin West Ham United's journey in the Champions League. And whilst we've been drawn in what many might consider a fairly favourable group with the likes of Anderlecht and SC Braga, Seville is going to be the team that we're going to be desperate to seek revenge against, having knocked us out in the Europa League last season. For now though, it's time for us to kick off our campaign once again at the London Stadium in front of what is going to be an absolute electric crowd here under the lights in London, as we're going to be welcoming the Portuguese side SC Braga in a game that I'm sure we will be favourites to get the 3 points from, and a game that we will be eager to put out the right performance to kickstart our Champions League campaign this season. And I've made a couple of changes to my usual starting 11. As you can see, my captain James Ward-Prowse comes back in. I thought he deserved a starting spot in our first Champions League game, as does Eze, who starts in place of Savio, drops to the bench. So it's Taylor for Braga to kick us off here, and as you can see, I've made a bit of a mistake. I've kept both teams in their usual kits, and now it means it's going to be a bit of a struggle for me to try and see these West Ham United players. Let's hope that they fare a little bit better than I am at the moment, as Gyökeres now has it. He's going to look to try and play in Jarrod Bowen. Couldn't quite find him though, but he does manage to win the ball back in a really good position, and the big Swede now can drive into the box and fire a strike, and he fired a wicked strike against the goalkeeper, who managed to force a good save. But it is going to be the man James Ward-Prowse who's going to take the resulting corner. Exactly why I brought him back in the team here. Throws it back in, only out as far as Eze. Diamande will pick it back up and throw it back out to James Ward-Prowse, who lifts it back in, looking for the big Swede. Doesn't manage to find him. In the end, Jarrod Bowen tries to get on the end of it, but eventually they get it clear. Bruma to bring it away. Can't get past. Yes, he can get past Alvarez, and he can also get past Milan Van Ewig. Abel Ruiz comes across, but he can't get past Diamande, who's been an absolute rock at the back so far this season, and he's got the wherewithal to dribble it away. What an inspired signing this young man is proving to be, and he's laid off a wonderful ball to Kieran Tierney down the left-hand side, who finds the big Swede in Gyökeres. Gyökeres tries to lay it back off. His link-up play has not been fantastic so far in the opening 20 minutes. Braga have it once again. They're looking for an option up ahead of him. They found Masrati. It's Victor who has it now. Carvalho to bring it forward into Abel Ruiz, who balloons his strike over the bar. Well, it seems like there's a few nerves here from some of these West Ham United players. We've been mislaying a few passes, and perhaps we're struggling here on the biggest stage of them all inside the opening 30 minutes. But Kieran Tierney is going to look to try and see if he can change that here, but he can't quite get his ball across. Does manage to keep hold of it though, and then almost gives it away. James Ward-Prowse keeps hold of it though, into Eze, trying to find some space to line up a strike, and he does, but another good save from the goalkeeper. Going to be our second corner of the game, and the second time James Ward-Prowse is going to try and throw this one across, looking for Diamande with a big head, and once again it's the third big save from the goalkeeper. Kudos though is going to take an outswinger here to try and throw it back in, this time looking for Alvarez, who gets up, but his header is too high and over the bar. Into Kudos. Kudos, lovely play into Van Ewig. Van Ewig to try and turn it back into the path of Gyökeres, who once again can't go past the defenders. It's been a really poor opening 45 minutes from the big Swede so far. Well, Braga have got a throw here, 10 minutes into the start of the second half, and they're starting off much better than they ended the first, but Kieran Tierney comes across with a good challenge and trying to wiggle away from a Braga challenge, and he does do just that. Eze now down the line into James Ward-Prowse. James Ward-Prowse is going to try and see if he can fire a ball, and there's a lovely ball right over to Kudos on the right hand side, who just doesn't take it particularly well, and that is pretty much the story so far of our attacking play. Alvarez now for West Ham, into Jarrod Bowen in the centre, into Kudos. Kudos down the line into Milan Van Ewig. Really nicely worked here. He tries to play it across to Jarrod Bowen. The passes in the final third just have not been good enough. Ronnie Lopez down the channel into Abel Ruiz now. He plays it across to Bruma. Bruma's being chased down by Milan Van Ewig, but plays a lovely ball across. But who else is it going to be but this man, Ousmane Diamande, to come across? He's been the man of the match so far for me. Kieran Tierney down the line into Eze. Eze across into James Ward-Prowse. James Ward-Prowse down the line into Gyökeres. And this is the chance now for the big Swede into the box. Can he try and put it in the back of the net? No, he can't. And Kudos just can't get there, my word. It's Ruiz now who's going to take the free kick here with about 10 minutes remaining on the clock. Floated into the box. It's a really good ball. Thuram on as a substitute wins it back, and it's now Emerson, another one who's going to try and bring this one away from the box, and goes and gives it away to Eric Lamela. Into Taylor now. Taylor to try and burst down the right hand side. Unmarked. Hanko tries to come across. It's floated into the box. It's Wrench on as a substitute to head it away. Gyökeres now into the path of Kudos. Can we try and see if we can hit them on the counter attack? Duvikas now down into the channel. He's going to run on here. He's got fresh legs, and surely he's going to try and see if he can find his way into the box. He does do just that. The cutback is on here for Thuram, and Thuram is going to get his first first goal in a West Ham United shirt with 1 minute remaining on the clock in the first Champions League game in West Ham United's history. What a fabulous way to open your account in a West Ham United shirt. All the two substitutes combining, Duvikas driving into the box and just laying it on a plate for Thuram, and my word, what a powerful strike, buried it into the top left-hand corner. The keeper had absolutely no chance whatsoever. The fresh legs coming on have surely now secured victory and our first 3 points in the Champions League. It's 1-0 West Ham. And what a wonderful way to end what has been an end-to-end game, an absolutely frantic start to life in the Champions League as I salute the home fans. That man will have a smile that is bigger than the sun after a fabulous goal in the last minute of the game as we beat SC Braga 1-0 at full time. It's a huge moment for this man and hopefully one that will kickstart his West Ham United career and hopefully kickstart our season for the rest of the team as well, as that is going to be that for the end of today's episode. Thank you everyone for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again next time.